Okay, now you can start.
So today I'm going to talk about I'm going to present about the new literature, the paper number. In that I have selected the topic, sense of an ending. In that I will discuss about the memory in Julian Barnes, the sense of an ending, and the Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children. That this both the texts I have compared in this presentation. So let's see. So before going through the presentation, so I want to elaborate the idea of memory. If we talk about the memory, then what is memory? It is our sentiments, it is our conscious or unconscious restoration of our feelings, beliefs, or is there anything is like, so the concept of memory is like the faculty by which the mind stores and remember the information, or you can say the remember from the past as well. So this is all about it. So the aim of my presentation, that why should I have presented and why I'm so presenting this presentation, to create a new modes of narrating stories, experiences, and also to open up possibilities for the difficult or sorry different levels of reading and interpreting the work, and to deconstruct or construct the denounce the very narrative of the story. If the narrative of a story is given as it is, then if we deconstruct it, then we can get the new meaning of it, and also we can able to see the different aspects of the novel. And however, the modern and postmodern writers have given the reader a variety of different forms of unreliable narrative. Because not just only in this novel, the sense of an ending, unreliable narrator is given, but there are lots of novels which gives the unreliable narrative. To highlight the presentation, here I have going to through this idea that memory distortion in the Julian Barnes, the sense of an ending, and Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, and how the memory has the ability to transform an account for an individual's narration into the unreliable. When the narrator will be unreliable, then how we possibly say that the narrator is not unreliable. Then and then we can get the idea that this event will be truly said, or maybe there will be effect, but narrator is already unreliable. Then how we can question the idea or narration of the narrator? So the first book, The Sense of an Ending, which is published in 4 October, August 2011, and the genre of this book is a psychological fiction. And the title of this book is borrowed from the Sense of an Ending, which is published in the 1965 by the Frank Kermode. And this book also won the Man Booker Prize. And here the unreliable narrator is Tony, and he is also a protagonist of this novel. And the second book is The Midnight Children, which is written by the Salman Rushdie, as you can see in this picture. And this is published in 1981. And the genre of this book is magic realism and historical fiction. And here, the protagonist and the narrator is the same as Tony is in The Sense of an Ending. Like Salim Sinai is the protagonist and narrator of this novel. And it throws some more ideas or light on the concept of India's transition from the British colonial rule to the independence and the partition of India. When the novel starts, it will include the idea of the at that moment of a crisis, like the partition and the British colonial rules were going on. So he has included that all the aspects of past memories. And this book also won the Booker Prize. And here are the how the memories are working in this both texts. Like David Gallo defines the memory is in the presentation that in this article the association and errors through history. In that he defines that the history isn't simply recorded of the past, but it is a deliberately piecing together or retrieved information and others relevant information in the efforts to make sense of the past. So this is what the idea is given into the text. So if and also it deals with the efforts to recollect memories can turns out to be fatal in the recollected memory proves perishable. That means when we recollect the memories at the time, we will not be able to see the whole ideas or whole event which was happened with us. We can just get this some sort of information or some sort of memories in our life. So narrator is reliable when he speaks or act in accordance with the norms of work at the time. The unreliable when he does not. And the narrator of the both how the narrator pattern and the narration was given by the narrator in both the texts turns, alter, and deforms the authenticity of narration and history in this both the book, which is given by the narrator. And the both the narrator is trying to recollect the record their individual history, but experience lacks his memory. That means they are not able to recollect the old memories from his past and aware of the shortcoming in their narration and often remind the readers about a distortion of a certain memory. And the novels are narrated from the first person point of view. Both the novels were given from this point of view. And the main protagonist in the both the narrator are the protagonist and narration sequence from their life and rather they narrate their individual history. That means the sequences is coming from their life and as well as from their individual history, which is they have felt in their life. They are explaining their own ideas or and their own feelings. And the narrator of the sense of an ending. Here, the narrator of sense of an ending and the Midnight Children both have a different aspect, or some way we can say a very similar to each other. Like Tony Webster, who is 60 years old, when he is explaining or when he was talking about the recollection of the memory, and he retired man, and who narrated the sequence from his life, and he is beginning his narrative by listening a few images, and Tony discovers truth about himself, and he brings beings by saying that this sentence goes with the memory that how he is trying to recollect his memory that I remember in no particular order, and it goes on to describe the images, and he remember and ends the paragraph by saying that this last isn't something I actually saw, but what you ends up remembering isn't always the same as what we have witnessed. That means from starting we start this recollecting the memory, or when we have felt that actual moment. At this time we don't know that what we are thinking, but when we try to analyze all the things, then we come to know that we are also witness. We are not just telling to story to someone else, but we are also explaining ourselves to in front of others. And his narrative moving gradually school days, college life, and life before and after marriage, and finally the present retirement life. This is a sequence of the events which is throughout the sense of an ending is going on from the side of Tony. And in that it was mentioned that a discussion of history is an imperfection of both memory and history, which transform the narrative and iterative one. And Tony's friend quotes Patrick Legrand that history is a certain produce at the point where the imperfection of memory meets the inadequacies of documentation. When we don't have a documentation, then we won't be able to write the whole history or the truthful event. But if we have, then we can. Narrator of the Midnight Children. Here, the narrator is Salim Sinai, who is the narrator and the protagonist of this novel. And Salim Sinai, who is a 31-year-old and who described the time and day on which he born. From the birth of that this person, the story starts. And lots of errors in his narration, which he openly acknowledges that. But if we say that sometimes people will not accept that they have made mistake, but they have made, then they are accepting that yes, we have we have done some of the error or lots of error. Like here, the Salim Sinai was accepting that, and he openly says that I'm racing ahead at a breakneck speed, and error are possible, and overstatements and jarring alternations in tone. I'm racing the tracks, but I remaining conscious that errors have already been made, and that as my decay accelerates, the risk of unreliability grows. So here we can see that how the unreliable narrator in both the texts are going on, and how they both have collected the imperfect memories. His narration would be unreliable and fallible, but he uses expression like fill in the gaps and confine in the proper before I forget. That's why people say they write something somewhere, so you can easily get it, and you will not be drawn into another way, which not is a truthful, or there is a no any fact you can find. So the mistaken in his narration is that it occurs to me that I have made another error, that the election of 1957 took place before and not after my 10th birthday. So this is the biggest